Greetings, Okuna Recaps here. In this video, I'm gonna explain an American action drama movie called The Last Samurai. Spoilers ahead. Proceed with caution and have fun. The movie starts with a man narrating how Japan was made. He says, according to the Japanese mythology, Japan was made by a sword, but he believes that Japan was made by brave warriors who are willing to sacrifice their lives for the forgotten word, honor. Somewhere in Japan, Katsumoto is meditating. He foresees the white tiger warrior he must face in a battle. In America, retired decorated war hero Captain Nathan Algren is drinking heavily. He has become an alcoholic now because he'd been traumatized by the war. He's now working as a showman in a theater to make ends meet. After his performance, his old colleague from the military, Sergeant Gant, shows up and tells him about a job offer. Then the duo arrive at a fancy restaurant where they meet with their former commanding officer Colonel Bagley and a Japanese businessman Omura. Omura tells Nathan that the Emperor is westernizing the Imperial Army and he needs Western military experts. Plus, Nathan has to take care of a tribal leader, a samurai named Katsumoto. He was once the Emperor's teacher, but now he's causing trouble for him. Bagley adds that Omura chose Nathan because he's an expert in tribal studies. Nathan feels disgusted by this comment and leaves for the toilet. Nathan hates Bagley because he had massacred so many Indian tribes during the war, including women and children. Bagley confronts Nathan to forget about their past. He just followed the order, so he has no remorse. This comment further angers Nathan, but he calmly replies he'll happily kill whoever Bagley ordered him to kill for free, and they begins their voyage to Japan. On the way, Nathan reflects to himself that although he finds comfort in the emptiness of the ocean, the reality hits him hard. Yet again, he's been hired to suppress another tribal leader. He's disgusted by himself that he is only suited for this kind of job. When they arrive Yokohama Harbor, they are greeted by a translator and self-proclaimed samurai expert, Simon Graham. The next day, Nathan, Simon, and Bagley meet the young Emperor of Japan. The Emperor expresses his gratitude for their help and dismisses the trio. The new Imperial Army is under the command of General Hasegawa, who had fought alongside Katsumoto for the Emperor. Nathan is surprised to learn that Katsumoto has no longer dishonored himself with modern weapons, and General Hasegawa is also a samurai. Bagley and Omura underestimate Katsumoto's army. They both think the enemy is easy to defeat because they only use bows and arrows. However, Nathan knows that the enemy has been in so many battles for a long time and has a lot of military experience. He had already found some difficulties in training the soldiers because the new recruits are mostly peasants with no prior military experience. Clearly, the Imperial Army is not ready. Nevertheless, Bagley and Omura decide to go head-to-head with Katsumoto's army right away. During the battle, General Hasegawa refuses to fight against Katsumoto. As Nathan had feared, the Imperial Army is not ready. Even before the battle starts, nervous and shaken new recruits break the battle formation. Although it is a sword versus gunfight, Katsumoto and his fearless samurais quickly dominate the battle with their katanas. The Imperial Army has to run away in fear. Unfortunately, Sergeant Gant is stabbed and killed during the battle. Seeing this, Nathan tries to go and help Sergeant Gant. However, Katsumoto's men knock him off of his horse and try to kill him. Katsumoto notices Nathan fighting back valiantly and remembers his vision about the white tiger warrior. Finally, Nathan collapses from exhaustion, and the samurai in the red armor who killed Sergeant Gant tries to kill him too. But with a quick reflex, Nathan manages to take sweet revenge for his friend. Seeing this, Katsumoto orders his men to keep Nathan as their prisoner. After losing the battle, General Hasegawa can't stand the shame of defeat and commits seppuku by stabbing himself in the stomach. To ease his pain, Katsumoto helps him by cutting his head off with a katana. After the battle, Katsumoto takes Nathan to his son's village as a prisoner. When they all arrive the village, Katsumoto asks Nathan his name. Nathan doesn't give an answer. Seeing this disrespect, Katsumoto's right-hand man, Ujio, tries to cut his neck. Nathan doesn't even flinch and shows his courage to Katsumoto. Katsumoto warns Nathan that he can't escape because he is deep within the mountains. Nathan blacks out from exhaustion and loses his conscience. He is now in a traditional Japanese house and he notices a pretty Japanese woman taking care of his wounds. While Nathan is in and out of his conscience, Katsumoto takes his diaries secretly and reads them. Several days have passed, but Nathan is not fully recovered from his wounds yet. Every night, he's having nightmares about the massacre he had committed in the Indian War and screams loudly in his sleep. He is in so many physical and mental pains that he really wants to die, so he doesn't try to eat anything and only asks for sake, but miraculously, he survived. As soon as he can walk, he is summoned by Katsumoto. When the two meet, Katsumoto introduces himself and says he keeps Nathan alive because he wants to know the enemy. Nathan asks Katsumoto about the samurai in the red armor. Nathan is shocked to find out that he is Katsumoto's brother-in-law, Hirataro, and the pretty woman taking care of him is Hirataro's wife and Katsumoto's sister, Taka. Nathan feels guilty that he killed Hirataro. However, Katsumoto says, as Hirataro is a samurai, it was a good death, and leaves Nathan without another word. The next morning, Katsumoto summons Nathan again and asks him about the Indian War he wrote in his diaries. Nathan is sick of people asking about this topic, but Katsumoto calmly replies that he and Nathan are both students of war and he just wants to learn from his enemies. Nathan laughs sarcastically but opens up about how he and Bagley had committed war crimes during the Indian War. Nathan is surprised to learn that the word samurai means to serve. Nathan and Katsumoto continue their conversations and the two become friends. On the other hand, it's been a real torture for Taka to lose her husband. She now has to take care of the man who killed her husband. She can't stand it anymore and confronts her brother that she wants Nathan out of her house. Katsumoto calms down Taka and says Nathan is here for reasons beyond his understanding and she must take care of Nathan for him. Meanwhile, Nathan finds interest in Japanese way of the sword. So one day, while Ujio is training his men, Nathan picks up a wooden sword and tries to practice by himself. Ujio tries to kick him out, but Katsumoto signals Ujio to teach Nathan the art of Japanese swordsmanship. Nathan trains as hard as he could, but he still couldn't find his inner peace and master the art of Japanese swordsmanship. But one day, Nathan manages to take a draw with Ujio in a practice session. Ujio is shocked by Nathan's fast-developing swordsmanship skill and pays his respects. On the other hand, Nathan apologizes to Taka for what he did to her husband. Taka accepts his apology and they both grow romantic feelings for each other. Over time, Nathan and Taka's sons have developed a father-son bond too. Nathan finds powerful spiritual feelings in the village which he'll never understand. He no longer has bad dreams about his terrible past, and for the very first time in his life, he finally finds peace. But his newfound peace is cut short by Omura. He sent assassins to take care of Katsumoto. Because of Nathan's timely warning, Katsumoto and his men are able to fight back the assassins. After the failed assassination attempt, Katsumoto summons Nathan and informs him that the Emperor had granted a safe passage to Tokyo and they will leave tomorrow. Nathan is happy to hear the good news, but Katsumoto doesn't want him to go. Disappointed, Katsumoto tells Nathan that he was his enemy when he took the diaries and leaves without another word. It's also very hard for Nathan to say goodbye to, especially to Taka. She doesn't want Nathan to go either, but she hides her feelings and says nothing back to Nathan. Even Taka's eldest son is sad to see him go, so he gives him his calligraphy writing as a parting gift. When he arrives Tokyo, Nathan is shocked to find that the Imperial Army had been upgraded with howitzers and machine guns. Then he is summoned and interviewed by Omura. He wants to know the secret informations about Katsumoto's army. Nathan lies and says he knows nothing because he was in a confinement all the time. Omura doesn't take his bluff and orders his bodyguard to follow Nathan. At the same time, Katsumoto offers his sword to the Emperor and tries to talk some sense into him, but the Emperor is still young and naive. He only thinks about westernizing the Imperial Army and forgets his own people. Being a crude businessman, Omura seized this opportunity and controlled the Emperor like a puppet to become the richest man in Japan. After seeing the Emperor is neglecting him, Katsumoto gets upset and tells the Emperor that he must refuse to give up his sword and leaves. Meanwhile, Nathan is packing his stuff to leave Japan and notices Taka's son's parting gift for him. He picks it up and realizes that his destiny is to help Katsumoto. So he sets off to meet Katsumoto, but he's stopped by Omura's men. They surround him and draw their katanas. At first, Nathan gets nervous and looks for his gun, but he calms down his mind and recalls his Japanese swordsmanship trainings. He manages to win a 3-to-1 sword fight easily without any weapon on him. And he finally realizes that he has now become a samurai too. Nathan learns that Omura has declared Katsumoto a traitor and forced him to commit seppuku. With the help of Simon, he arrives just in time to talk some sense into Katsumoto. On their way out, the guards notice them trying to escape. A fight erupts. Katsumoto's son manages to kill some guards, but they are outnumbered and Katsumoto's son is badly injured by a gunshot wound. so he asks his father's permission to stay behind and let him sacrifice himself with honor. No choice, Katsumoto looks at his son for the last time and has to leave his son behind. After that, Katsumoto and Nathan make plans to fight back the Imperial Army. Nathan suggests that the enemy is overconfident with their machine guns and howitzers, so they should use this advantage to lure the enemy close enough for katanas. Before the battle, Taka confronts Nathan that she would be honored if he wears the red armor which her late husband wore for the battle. As she helps Nathan wear the armor, both can't hide their feelings for each other, and they kiss. Katsumoto also gives him a new customized katana, crafted just for him by skilled swordsmiths. In the first round of the battle, samurais lure the Imperial Army into a valley. In a close range, the enemy is no match for the samurais and they have to retreat. Although samurais manage to kill several enemies, they lose a lot of their men and everyone is badly injured too, but they rather die with honor than surrender with cowardice. So they all draw their katanas and charge again. Nathan takes his sweet revenge by throwing his katana at Colonel Bagley's chest, killing him instantly. However, samurais don't stand a chance against machine guns and howitzers, and they all died. Katsumoto is dying and he wants to die with honor, but he can't commit seppuku himself, so he asks Nathan's help. Nathan helps his friend one last time. Seeing the bravery and honor of the samurais, the captain of the Imperial Army and the Imperial soldiers fall to their knees and bow before the fallen samurais to pay their respects. After the battle, Nathan meets the Emperor and offers him Katsumoto's katana. He tells the Emperor that if the Emperor regards him as his enemy, he will gladly take his own life. After receiving his teacher's katana and hearing powerful words from Nathan, the Emperor instantly regrets his decisions, so he rejects every treaty from the American ambassador. Omura still thinks the Emperor is his puppet and tries to object, but the Emperor had enough of Omura and confiscates all of his fortunes, and he regretfully tells his ministers that although Japan must modernize, the people of Japan should never forget their own history. Then he sadly asks Nathan how Katsumoto died. Nathan replies he will tell how Katsumoto lived. The Emperor falls to his knees and listens gladly. The movie ends as Nathan returns to the village to spend the rest of his natural life in peace with Taka and her 2 sons. Subscribe and turn on the notification for more videos like this. Smash a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching and catch you in the next one.